religious hypocrisy and its consequences. Now, that's a topic as old as time. But the story of Ananias and Sapphira shows how one couple's attempt to fake generosity led to perhaps the most dramatic church discipline in history.
That's fascinating timing, too, since it happened right when the early church was experiencing this incredible wave of authentic generosity and community.
You know what's really striking about this? They weren't punished for keeping some money. They were free to keep it all if they wanted. The text specifically uses the Greek word nosphizomai for their actions, which means to misappropriate, the same word used to describe theft in other biblical contexts.
So it was really about the deliberate deception then, trying to appear more spiritual than they actually were.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. The text lists 7 specific sins packed under their main offense: contempt of God, sacrilegious defrauding, vanity, lack of faith, corrupting the church's order, and hypocrisy. It's like a case study in how one act of spiritual pretense can cascade into multiple layers of corruption.
The consequences certainly seem severe by modern standards, though, both of them literally dropping dead when confronted.
Well, what's fascinating is that Peter didn't actually pronounce any judgment. The text emphasizes that their deaths came directly from God. And get this, the Greek description suggests they likely died from heart attacks, brought on by the shock and terror of being exposed. These were people who genuinely believed in divine accountability.
That's such a contrast to today's often casual approach to religious authenticity, isn't it?
Absolutely right. And look at what happened next. Instead of driving people away, this divine judgment actually led to church growth. The text says, believers were increasingly added to the Lord, multitudes of both men and women. It's completely counter to our modern instincts about making faith accessible and comfortable.
The ripple effects were pretty dramatic, too. Suddenly you have crowds gathering, miraculous healings, people thinking even Peter's shadow might have healing power.
And that's when things get really intense. The religious authorities arrest the apostles, but an angel breaks them out. And what do? They go right back to preaching in the most public place possible. The Greek text indicates they were then skinned, literally flogged until the skin came off their backs.
Yet they left rejoicing that they were considered worthy to suffer for their faith. That's an almost incomprehensible level of conviction.
You know what I find most powerful about this whole narrative? It shows this direct connection between internal integrity and external impact. Once the church dealt decisively with hypocrisy in its ranks, its authentic spiritual power multiplied exponentially.
That really challenges our modern tendency to prioritize appearance over substance, doesn't it?
It does, and here's the kicker. We're still dealing with the same basic human tendencies today. Social media has just given us new tools for spiritual performance, but the story suggests that real transformation, both individual and communal, only comes through authentic faith, even when it costs us something.
The message seems pretty clear. Genuine spirituality, even when it's challenging, has more lasting impact than any carefully curated religious image.
And that's perhaps the most hopeful part of this ancient story. It shows that while the temptation to fake spiritual maturity is timeless, so is the possibility of genuine transformation when we choose authenticity over appearance.